Let's start with the morning, because this is when most men first notice urges. Waking up with morning erections is normal, healthy, and tied to how your body works during sleep. Testosterone levels are naturally highest in the early hours of the morning, peaking usually between 6 and 8 a.m. That's why so many men feel an increase in desire first thing after waking. It's not just in your head, it's your biology. But here's where it gets tricky. While testosterone is higher in the morning, so is cortisol, your main stress hormone. Cortisol peaks around the same time, and its job is to wake you up, raise blood sugar, and prepare you for the demands of the day. Now, what happens if you respond to your urges by masturbating right away in the morning? On the one hand, yes, you're taking advantage of naturally higher testosterone. But on the other hand, you might also be clashing with cortisol. Think of it this way. Your body is like an orchestra, and in the morning, testosterone and cortisol are both playing loud instruments at the same time. If you drain too much energy then, you may feel unusually sluggish afterwards, even if only for a few hours. For men over 50, this effect can be more noticeable. That's because as we age, the natural peak of testosterone is not as strong as it used to be, and the recovery period after ejaculation can take longer. Instead of a quick rebound like when you were 20 or 30, you might feel low on energy for half the morning. Some men even describe it as brain fog, a kind of heavy, unmotivated state. So while the morning may seem like the perfect time, the truth is it can become counterproductive if you've got a busy day ahead. Masturbating too early can set you up for fatigue, lack of focus, or irritability. Now, let's also talk about circulation. Erections are fundamentally about blood flow. In the morning, your body has been lying down for hours and circulation is not at its peak. The blood vessels may not be as responsive compared to later in the day when you've moved around, hydrated, and stretched your muscles. This means morning masturbation can sometimes put extra pressure on vessels that are not yet fully active. It's like revving your car engine when it's still cold. It works, but it isn't ideal for the long-term performance of the engine. Some men also ask if morning ejaculation helps boost mood. The answer is complicated. Yes, you get a short-term rise in dopamine and oxytocin, which can make you feel calm. But remember, dopamine works like a reward signal. If you repeatedly give in to the morning urge, your brain can become conditioned to need that release to start the day. Over time, this pattern can reduce natural motivation and even make you feel dependent on it. And let's not forget about the prostate. Frequent ejaculation is not harmful in itself, but timing does play a role in how the prostate recovers. In the morning, your body is still in a state of hormonal adjustment from sleep. Ejaculating too early, before hydration and before the prostate has had a chance to normalize fluid pressure, can sometimes contribute to congestion and discomfort in older men. It doesn't happen to everyone, but it's worth considering if you notice soreness or heaviness afterward. Now, here's the surprising part. Many men assume that masturbating in the morning will help them to get it out of the way and boost productivity. But for men over 50, the opposite is often true. Instead of sharpening your focus, it can flatten your energy curve. You might not notice it right away, but by midday, you could feel less sharp, less motivated, and even less confident. So what's the takeaway? The morning isn't always the most dangerous time, but it can be a risky one if you need full energy, focus, and stamina for the day ahead. Your hormones are already working hard to balance each other. Adding sexual release into that mix can tip the balance toward fatigue instead of vitality. Here's a simple tip. If you choose to engage in the morning, make sure you hydrate first, eat a light breakfast with protein, and give yourself some movement before. That way, your circulation is stronger, your brain is more alert, and your body is in a better state to handle it. But for many men over 50, waiting until later in the day provides a more balanced and beneficial outcome. Now, let's turn to the evening, because for many men, this is the most common time they choose. After a long day, the house is quiet, stress is high, and masturbation feels like a way to relax. On the surface, it makes sense, but here's the hidden truth. Evening is also one of the riskiest times for men over 50. Why? Because evening masturbation can directly interfere with the two most important processes your body depends on during the night: sleep quality and testosterone recovery. Every man's body produces testosterone in a daily rhythm, and most of it is created during deep sleep, particularly in the first few cycles of slow wave sleep. That's why poor sleep is one of the fastest ways to lower testosterone. Now imagine if, right before bed, you drain your energy with ejaculation. Yes, it may help you fall asleep quickly, but here's the problem: it disrupts the quality of your deep sleep. When you orgasm, your body releases prolactin, a hormone that promotes relaxation and sleepiness. That sounds good at first, but prolactin also suppresses dopamine, the motivation chemical, and can blunt your next day's drive. For younger men, the rebound is fast, but for men over 50, the balance of these hormones shifts more slowly. That means you wake up not recharged, but tired, heavy, and sometimes even unmotivated. Another piece of the puzzle is cortisol, the stress hormone we mentioned earlier. Cortisol should naturally drop at night, helping you relax into deep sleep. But if you stimulate yourself late at night, especially with digital screens, you raise cortisol instead of lowering it. Bright light from phones or tablets tricks the brain into thinking it's daytime, while the stimulation itself keeps your nervous system on. The result? You might fall asleep, but you don't reach the restorative levels of deep rest that your body needs to recover. Here's something most men don't realize. Frequent late-night masturbation can also put more pressure on the prostate. When your body is in a horizontal position during sleep, circulation to the pelvic area changes. Ejaculating just before lying down can sometimes cause congestion or a heavy feeling in the prostate, especially in older men where circulation is not as efficient. Over time, this can lead to discomfort, interrupted sleep, or increased nighttime urination. Blood flow is another key factor. Erections depend on strong vascular response, but at the end of a long day, circulation is often reduced due to fatigue, dehydration, or inactivity. If you've been sitting for hours or not drinking enough water, blood vessels in the lower body are less responsive. That means evening sessions can actually be harder on your system and less satisfying overall. Let's talk specifics. Testosterone peaks in the early morning hours around REM sleep, and this is when your body prepares you for the next day. But when evening masturbation disrupts your first sleep cycles, the whole rhythm is shifted. The next morning, testosterone is not as high, and you may feel the effects in weaker morning erections, lower energy, and reduced motivation. Over time, this pattern can chip away at your natural daily rhythm. Evening masturbation can also affect your mindset. If it becomes the primary way you relax, your brain may start to depend on it as the signal for sleep. This can create a cycle where you struggle to fall asleep without it, leaving you feeling less in control. For men over 50 who already deal with changing sleep patterns due to aging, this dependency can make sleep problems worse. There's also the emotional factor. Late-night sessions often happen when men are tired, stressed, or even lonely. That can lead to using it as a coping mechanism instead of a balanced choice. Over time, this habit can lower confidence and self-esteem, especially if you notice it interfering with sleep or energy. If you prefer the evening, there are ways to make it healthier. Avoid digital screens right before. Blue light disrupts melatonin, your sleep hormone. Keep it earlier in the evening, not right before bed. Give your body at least an hour or two to settle. Hydrate and stretch afterward to improve circulation. Keep track of how you feel the next morning. If you consistently wake up tired, adjust the timing. Remember, the goal is not to forbid the habit, but to understand how timing impacts your health. Evening might feel like the easiest option, but if it leaves you drained, restless, or less sharp the next day, it may be doing more harm than good. So what's the bottom line?
Evening is one of the most dangerous times of day for men over 50 to masturbate. It can interfere with sleep cycles, lower next-day testosterone, and create habits that weaken confidence and control. But there's still one more piece to this puzzle: the safest timing and the routines that actually support long-term energy and intimacy. And that's exactly what we'll cover next. Now, let's take this deeper. We've already talked about timing and hormones, but there's another side to this conversation that men over 50 need to understand, and it's about balance. Balance between energy, recovery, circulation, and even mental health. And once you get this, it can completely change how you look at the subject. You see, the male body runs on rhythms. Testosterone naturally peaks in the morning and slowly drifts down as the day goes on. Cortisol, the stress hormone, spikes early to wake you up, then should settle down by evening so your body can rest. These rhythms are not random. They're designed to keep your energy sharp, your mood steady, and your body in repair mode at the right times. But when you ignore those rhythms, especially by pushing your body at night, you create what doctors call hormonal misalignment. That's a fancy way of saying your body is being asked to sprint when it should be cooling down. And just like a car running on the wrong oil, it may still move, but it wears down a lot faster. Masturbation itself is not harmful. That's something I want to make clear, because too many men live with guilt around it. The real issue comes down to when and how often. And here's the truth. When you're young, your body can bounce back quickly. Hormone levels are higher, circulation is stronger, and recovery is fast. But after 50, blood vessels lose elasticity, nitric oxide levels decline, and testosterone isn't produced in the same amount as it was in your 20s. That means timing matters more now than ever before. Here's an example. If you make a habit of always doing it late at night, you might think it helps you relax, but in reality, it can take away from your body's prime recovery time. Instead of entering deep, restorative sleep, your nervous system may stay more alert. That's why some men wake up groggy, sluggish, or with less motivation the next day. They may not connect the dots, but it's the timing that's draining them. And let's talk about circulation. Erections rely on healthy blood flow. In younger years, blood vessels expand quickly, fill with blood, and return to normal almost instantly. But after 50, recovery is slower. If you repeatedly strain your circulation late at night, when your blood flow is naturally reduced, you're adding extra pressure to a system that already works harder than before. Over time, that can contribute to weaker morning energy, softer erections, and even slower recovery after exercise.
Now, here's the practical part. If you want to keep both energy and confidence high, try adjusting the timing. Morning or daytime, when testosterone and blood flow are naturally higher, is often the safest and most energizing choice. In fact, many men report that when they shift from late night to earlier in the day, they notice better sleep, stronger energy at work, and even improved workouts. You're simply working with the body's design instead of fighting it. Another hidden benefit of balance is restraint. Did you know that occasional breaks, choosing not to release every single day, can actually increase testosterone levels naturally? That's right. Research shows that abstaining for just a few days can raise testosterone and improve sperm quality. In everyday life, this often shows up as sharper focus, higher confidence, and even stronger erections. It's proof that less can sometimes give you more. And this is where many men go wrong. They think the answer is to quit completely, or, on the other hand, they see no reason to change habits at all. But the truth is in the middle. You don't need to give it up. You just need to learn how to respect your body's signals and cycles. When you do, it stops being a drain and starts being something that can actually support your health. Here's a challenge you can try. For 1 week, track how you feel based on timing. If you normally do it before bed, try switching to morning or early afternoon instead. Pay attention to your sleep, your focus during the day, your energy at work, even your workouts. Many men are surprised to find they wake up sharper, recover faster, and even feel more confident around others simply from this one shift. Also,
Don't ignore the mental side of this. After 50, stress, loneliness, and boredom can sometimes lead to habits that aren't really about pleasure, but about coping. And here's the danger. If the timing is always linked to stress relief late at night, it can trap you in a cycle where your body never gets proper rest. So instead of automatically reaching for the habit when stressed, try walking, stretching, or even deep breathing first. When you finally do engage, it becomes more intentional, more satisfying, and less draining. And I want you to know this. Aging doesn't mean losing your masculinity. It doesn't mean your best days are behind you. It means learning how to work smarter with your body. By respecting timing, moderating frequency, and giving your body the rest it needs, you'll find that energy, stamina, and confidence come back stronger than you expected. If you take one thing away from this video, let it be this. Your body after 50 is not broken. It's simply asking for smarter choices. You don't need to stop. You need to adjust. And once you do, you'll notice the difference not just in your private life, but in your daily energy, your relationships, and even the way you carry yourself. So here's my final word for today. Don't ignore the signals. Pay attention to your timing, your energy, and your recovery. Make small changes, track how you feel, and let your body guide you. That's how you protect your health and build real confidence that lasts. And if this video gave you value, do me a favor, hit the like button so YouTube knows this message matters. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, because we have more powerful men's health topics coming that you won't want to miss. And share this with a friend who might need to hear the truth. Remember, knowledge is good, but applying it is what actually transforms your life.